Welcome into the Crypto Bunker podcast. Today, looking at Bitcoin breaking all-time highs. Where do we head to next? Can we expect an altcoin run here? Can we expect an ETH BTC ratio run? What's happening in macro land and why this could be a sustained rally for crypto? Stay tuned to understand all of those points. First, we want to look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been breaking out and has broken all of the weekly moving averages starting here back in October timeframe. And this is, to be honest, when Larry Fink, he came on CNBC and he talked about how Bitcoin is a store value asset. It's a digital asset. It's a non-sovereign asset. There's going to be demand for it. They're talking about obviously how they filed for the ETF. And since then, we have pumped. We got a reversal candle here, basically testing the 20-week for the first time. That's always a good sign to test the 20-week. We didn't actually make it fully down to that. But testing the 20-week is always bullish. Right now, we are looking more like this cycle here back in 2013. As you can see, we touched the 20-week many times. We never went below it. We tested it. I believe that we are somewhere within this time frame as we're starting to move up, and we can see if we get a rally like this, it could be exponential growth. Because if you think about it, people are so offsides on this asset because they haven't been able to invest in it. And so it's just a kind of a constant demand. We have record inflows for the ETF. It's the most successful ETF launch ever. We're having a rate of 10,000 Bitcoin per day being bought and only 1.8 million Bitcoin that are available to buy on exchanges. That number could be lower by now. That's only 180 days of supply. Plus, we have the halving coming up, which is going to have the supply of Bitcoin being mined each day is going to be cut in half. So that always contributes as well to a supply shock. It could be a sell the news event. It usually is. It's happening in late April. I believe it has been pushed forward. It might be around April 20th, 23rd, somewhere in that range. So that's kind of what we're looking at for the supply dynamics. We are seeing a supply shock of Bitcoin. These ETFs are picking up so much Bitcoin each day. They probably overall own about 3% of the supply already. This does include Grayscale Bitcoin Trust, which already had 2 or 3% of the supply, and it's been going down, and it's been being transferred over to products like BlackRock iBit, which is their product here. As you can see, we did have a huge sell-off in Bitcoin here, but we did have a huge reversal, on this as well, and now we're above the 24-hour, the 80-hour moving average. So we are looking good there. I do think we're probably already at the point where we're ready for blast off. If we look, and that's kind of what I'm going to cover for Bitcoin. You know what? I will give you right now a price target because that's what I do. None of this is financial advice. Do your own research, all that stuff. But basically, what we're looking at is a fib. This is easy. People make it too difficult. This is exactly what, if we look at last cycle, okay, let me do last cycle and just show you kind of where we went last cycle. All you have to do is go from the top, go, and you kind of try to hit as many of these like little trend lines as you can, and then you pull it to the bottom of the cycle, as you can see, we hit right in between the 3618 and the 4236. Okay, so really the target is usually around the 3618. It can go higher than that. In the 2013 to 17 cycle, it outperformed and went above everything by a ton. So don't think that this is, guaranteed to be the top or anything. But what we're looking at here, if I'm pulling it from this top, and this is just my opinion, but I think this is the true top. I think this was supposed to be sort of a lower high and then a crash, but it actually just kind of outperformed. You can even see the weekly reversal here on the lower high. But we had one last push because of like macro influences. But the true blow off top really was this first top. And that actually, I think, will adjust the cycle forward for this time. And so I think we're actually looking at 6 months prior to what people are usually going to be targeting. So you're going to hear people targeting a year and a half after the halving to be the top, which it always is. Except again, last time it was sort of a year because if you count this as the top. So I am going to be looking at a year from the halving or even a little bit before that to be the true top. So probably looking at like February, January of 2025 to potentially be the top. I think it's going to get a little bit blow offy. So let's get into the targets. So right now, I am looking at as the target around 198 to 225,000. So my personal target is around 180K. But I think we could get upwards of 200K, and I think that that's a conservative estimate. So this is a conservative estimate, I believe. I think we'll hit it around this time frame, like I said. So we're looking at right around here for that. If we look at a vertical line, we can throw that in there here. But I'm thinking right around that time frame, and I'm thinking right around that target range there. So looking at about 200K by January, February 2025. That's my personal prediction for Bitcoin. We could see an outperformance if we get a cycle that is similar to the 2017 or 2013 to 2018. If I copy the bar pattern, we can see that it looks very similar, especially if we use that as the top. We see how this created a lower high here. This is kind of what this was supposed to be. We see it crashing down. This is almost perfect with the dump there. We then have a little bit of chop and almost a double bottom, and we have it climbing, and we sort of have it climbing up. This is like a target of like 1 million. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it's 1 million April 2025. Almost 1 million, 948,000. I think this is possible. I know that sounds crazy, but it depends. If we get an ETH ETF, I think that will take away from this. If we do not get an ETH ETF, there's really nowhere else to go. I mean, especially as we sort of go into to long-term price targets, I think that this is possible. Probably not on this short of a time frame necessarily. But now I'm pulling it up to like 2 million. But so let's just get away from that for now. So for Ethereum, we're looking at a price target around, if we go up to the 4326, we get 15K. This is what I'm looking at. I'm looking from anywhere from 15 to 25K. I think ETH will outperform Bitcoin from here. I think when we look at ETH, see if I can get one. Yeah, we'll use this one. This is from Bitstamp. So ETH is pumping, and the thing about ETH is that when Bitcoin breaks all-time highs, Ethereum traditionally will moon in a quicker fashion. So if we look at when Bitcoin broke all-time highs last time, it was around December 2020, and Ethereum was still at like 600, and it went immediately about, it did about an 8x or a 7x um, to the all-time high, like very quickly. Um, there wasn't much opportunity. We did pull back and test that all-time high right there at 1300 and then just completely ripped to 4200. Um, so so yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at for what's happening now. I would say we're probably right in that phase here. Maybe around 1,000, right? Like, and we kind of could just rip right through. I think we could rip right through the all-time high somewhere like 6,900. I mean, if we look at the fibs, and we look at where that might be the next target for, we could see it's really the 1618. And I'm actually going to change this. Well, so yeah, it's around 65.89 would be that target. And then like I said, the upper band, it's around the 3618 is around 13.6 to 15.8 would be that. But macro is looking really good right now. So it's a Goldilocks scenario. We have gold and silver moving up. We have the stocks moving up. We have emerging markets moving up, energy moving up, commodities moving up, crypto moving up. So it's basically a buy everything scenario. I think rates have topped. Rates continue to come down, and they sort of made a lower high here and now are coming back down. If we look at the 10-year on a weekly time frame, it just looks, it doesn't look great. It doesn't have we haven't had like a reversal signal necessarily on that indicator. And we got one actually in the bottom there. But if we look at a daily, we do have a double indicator there. So hopefully we kind of get not too much of a crash. I would say if I think it's going to probably settle out within this range of 4.3 to 3.8, 3.7. Real quick, gold and silver are making all-time highs. They look really strong. And what I would say for gold is what you want to do is you want to take the range that we were in here. And so, from 2000 to 1600, you want to take the length of that range and you want to put it on top. And that's kind of what your target will be for the top, for at least the first run. So I think we will run to 2,600 in gold. And I think that will put silver at around 42.7. The target will be this high here. We're taking the wedge and we are doing this, right? We're taking the length of the wedge. We're moving it up and we're predicting a breakout, which would take us to around 42.7, which would take the gold and silver ratio down to around 62, which is this bottom here in February 2021. That's the target. So it's 2,600 and 67, whatever, for gold. And if you take a 62 ratio on that, it's right around $43. So everything kind of matches up for that to be the target for gold and silver. So it looks like silver's going to have a pretty good run here, in my opinion, and it's finally going to take place pretty much when everyone already is out, right? So that's kind of, I think, part of the reason why it's going to take place now is because finally everyone has capitulated, everyone has given up, no one cares about gold and silver whatsoever. And so that's when it's the most logical time for a short squeeze, because everyone who has been involved the last 4 years is like, oh my God, I knew about gold and silver this whole time and I screwed up and I've sold it and I messed up. And and now I'm screwed. So let's look at the ETH BTC ratio. It's been wedging this whole time, and it's really bullish in my opinion. It's looking really good. I think we're going to break through this. Um, it's really similar to the silver chart, sort of. But, I'm looking for it to probably head to around point 0.1 um, to start. So that's like a double almost from here in comparison. And ETH is really starting to move here on this stream. I also want to cover Matic. I believe that it's possible um, that Matic has bottomed against Ethereum. If we look at it on the daily time frame, we got a reversal indicator. We also, if we take away that, we have the RSI. So personally, I'm in a trade right now of Matic against ETH. I'm trying to increase my ETH stack, which is a little risky, but that's basically where I got in right there. And it hasn't gone up, anything crazy from there yet. So that's sort of like my stop loss. You can see this is a nice doji candle that came down and hammered here. The RSI on the daily, if we look at it, has only been picking up, and we have a lower low and we have a higher low in relative strength. We have a squeezing sort of scenario here with the RSI could be breaking out to the upside. And we have Matic breaking out of a wedge here that is a pretty long-term wedge. And, we can start to look at some targets for Matic as well, which I put around, you know, $8 to $10 would be the 3618. Matic is really underperformed every other kind of like layer two, but at the same time, it has the highest market cap of any layer two. But it's only like a 10 or 11, it's probably 12 billion now market cap. And we have the Dankun upgrade coming for Ethereum. So that is going to make these networks 10 to 50 times faster or cheaper, I should say. And Polygon has a ZK product that they have already deployed, zero knowledge system. And so they are going to, I think, be one of the dominant layer twos. And with the Dankun upgrade, lowering transaction fees with account abstraction, where companies can build on a blockchain and use like any gas fees they want. So they can use like US dollar coin as their gas fees, and they can build on top of a zero knowledge proof system that, keeps their privacy. There's no reason why they wouldn't be doing that. And so they will build on top of Polygon and be a zero knowledge proof blockchain that has, infinite TPS and has the security of not only Ethereum to back it, but also Polygon, because Polygon has its own validator set of stakers. So that's what I'm looking at right now. I think Matic is underperformed, but I think if Ethereum gets to 1.5 trillion to $2 trillion asset, I think Polygon will get pulled up with that. And it should be around, 100 billion, which would make it, $8 to $10. So, um, so yeah, Polygon, it's also, like I said, a layer two. The Dankun upgrade is in like 6 days or so, which again, that's going to be a huge upgrade. I think that's actually going to be a sell the news event for Ethereum, the token, but it's going to be a buy the rumor for layer twos. Optimism has already had a great run. I think that the dominance of Optimism versus Matic is going to reverse. I think I really like sort of the way the Matic chart looks here. It kind of has this kind of look to it of like kind of a cup and handle. And so, it just looks good. We have higher lows. I mean, at least I think we can get to the all-time high, which is around $3. And that really wouldn't be surprising to me if if Bitcoin breaks all-time highs, then Ethereum moons. Um, you know, it's questionable whether that will affect my trade here with Matic versus ETH. But and obviously I have a target up here because that's a really strong top of around 0.0005, I think, 49. Um, so it's not quite a double, but that's kind of what I'm looking for. Um, so I would prefer if ETH and Bitcoin just kind of settled down here and didn't like crash, but just like chilled, and we had like a proper alt season, and maybe Bitcoin does if once Bitcoin breaks the all-time high, it will like go to 100. It's going to go to like 95K within like 2 months or like a month or something. So just be aware, Bitcoin could pull altcoins down. There's also a risk that then Ethereum will be the next one to run and will also like go to like, 6,500 like really quickly. But I think at that point it's like so confirmed that we're in a bull that the altcoins will get pulled up with it. You just have to kind of trust that that is going to happen in that scenario. Um, and Polygon has broken out of this wedge. I mean, this isn't like this wedge is like a long term. We're talking 2021, touched it on the top, touched it on the higher low or lower high, touched it again here, and now we're breaking finally. We sort of squeezed. We came down and touched the halfway point, which is a nice support range for Matic, which is 75 cents. Worst case scenario, maybe we come back down and touch that again. Probably not, though. Probably more likely to touch $1, which is a good support range for Matic as well. And, I think we're off to the races here. And, that's what I'm looking at right now. So hopefully you guys got something out of the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.